Hello, Stephen White from SteveArts89. Well, finally got to the end of Game of Thrones. I came to Game of Thrones late. I started watching the show in about the fifth year. I heard a lot of talk about it. I was interested in the dragons and the fantasy side of things, and I heard about the high quality production, the cost of the show. Just everyone was talking. So I ran out. I bought the first 4 years of the show on DVD, and I had a little week-long marathon and watched everything. And the first season bored the hell out of me. It was just dreary and violent and just I'm like, I could, any freaking Viking show I could get this on. Like, why am I watching this? Where are the dragons? Where's the fantasy? Where's anything that makes this something that I couldn't just get out of a freaking History Channel documentary or something on Vikings and ancient whatever? And then at the end of the season, we have the dragons born on fire and all that. I'm like, okay. So I kept watching second season, third season. Got good, and then I stopped, and I meant to go back to it, and damn, I got something in my eye. I meant to go back to it, and I didn't. It took me a few years, but I kept hearing people talk about it, and I knew it was still a good show, and everyone was talking about it, and I was like, okay, I'll get back to it. Then I realized it's the 8th season, it's the end, and then I started hearing a lot of negative fan reaction and a lot of videos because everything was praise is the greatest thing ever, and I sort of thought, well, it's cool, it's not that amazing. And then it's like, it's going to hell, it's shit, Rotten Tomatoes 40%, it's just going down, hate all the time. I'm like, wow, okay, I need to work this out. But then I couldn't watch any of the videos because I had to watch the show. So I went out, I got the other seasons, and I had the last week, because it took me up until like the 5th episode basically out of 6, because I assumed there was going to be 10. I didn't realize season 7 was only 7. They basically split season 7 into 13 episodes and 13 episodes. It's 7 one season as season 7, and the other 6 as season 8. So sat down, got to it, watched season 4, 5 and 6 all together. 5, 6 and 7 altogether, and then I watched 8 on Foxtel in Australia because that's how we watch it in Australia. Had to sign up for them and all that just to get the last season, and I watched them over the weekend, and I was kind of shocked. I mean, I didn't know what people were bothered by and upset and carrying on about. So, and I obviously haven't read the novels. I didn't know a lot about the novel universe and the story and what was going to happen to the characters. I was just following the TV show and having no expectations. So I was really shocked when the big bad just got taken out so easily. I don't have any issue with who took them out. I didn't think about it that much in the moment, but I'm like, I thought it would have been John or Khaleesi, I said her name wrong. So to have his sister take him out, I was kind of surprised, but it wasn't so much that, it was how she did it. She just jumped out of nowhere, and he grabbed her, of course, because he's all powerful, and then she drops the knife in the other hand, and bam, and then he's gone, and the old vampire thing, just everyone who he turned is gone as well, and it's a very convenient ending. I'm like, wow, there's 3 more episodes to go. What are they going to do? So then I went to the next episode, and it was really just anticlimactic and just, oh, let's just have a drink. Yeah, we won. This is cool. Yeah, okay. And I'm like, what are they going to do? What the last part of it is just the politics of getting rid of the evil queen and the dragon queen coming in and taking over. And I liked that character. I believed that she wanted to free the people and have a different world from what she came from and grew up in, and I had some faith in that. I thought I liked that character. Apparently a lot of people did too. I liked Jon Snow, the reluctant hero, the person born to do it, who doesn't want to do it. All these things, there were so many things, and I've listened to a few videos now, because I went back after the 5th episode. I watched a bunch of videos on the first 5 episodes of season 8 and that, and then I just watched season 6, and then I watched the reaction to season 6, and I agree with a lot of it there. A lot of the character arcs weren't followed through. A lot of the things people expected and wanted weren't done, and there's this new trope, which is replacing all the old tropes like it's any better, of subverting expectations, which means basically if you don't know what to do and you screw it up, you say we're subverting expectations. If you don't want to do what the fans want, or you just want to do your own thing so you can say this is my work of art and I'm doing it for myself and I don't care about the audience, then you're subverting expectations. Basically, it means crap. If you're subverting expectations, it means you don't know what you're doing, or you don't care what you're doing, or you don't care about your audience. And the reality is, if you want to create your own original creation, an audience will come from that. So you can do whatever you want, and then if people come later and complain, you say, this is what I created, fuck off. But if you're taking something that's a movie series or a book series or a TV series or something that's already established like Star Trek, Doctor Who, that book series, God, I've forgotten the name of the actual book series, but yeah. The first one was Game of Thrones, so of course that's what the series is named after. If you're taking something on like that, you have to know what it is and what the audience expects, because you are making it for the audience that already exists. And you have to respect that. It's not about you. It's not about you're creating your show. You're creating your... That's what an original artist creating original work can do. And you should have the artistic freedom to do that. But when you are working on a franchise, you don't get to do that. And you certainly don't get to do that without criticism and being dragged, as you should, when you then slap the audience in the face and dismiss what they want, disappoint them. All these people who've paid all this money to watch the show and bought all the merchandise and followed it for 8 years now are getting just slapped in the face left and right. And I'm so glad I wasn't invested in this show. I hadn't followed it for 8 years. I spent a week watching it a couple of years ago, and I spent a week watching it this week, and just had it in my consciousness in between, and that's it. Other people watch it every week and watch the seasons over again. They bought the Blu-rays. They bought, they to them it was their Star Trek. Like, Star Trek was really important for me, and Star Trek recently got raped and killed. If anyone's been following that, it was one of Les Moonves' many sexual assault victims, and it is dead. And I understand what that feels like as a fan, to have something that you love, that you follow, that is important to you, just see it torn apart in front of you and then be told that you have no right to be upset, and that is actually your fault that it happened, because if you weren't such a bad fan, you would have enjoyed it being molested, apparently. But that would make you evil. But apparently, no, it's the other way around, because they're just trying to gaslight you. So I understand what all these poor Game of Thrones people are going through now, and I'm just glad I'm not feeling it on any real level, because I had my moments where I'm watching it and I'm like, what the hell? Why is she gone evil? Oh my god, why is she killing... Why is she snapped and just killing all these innocent people? She had... Like, this character didn't have to go that way. I get that there was a background and that could have... But the whole series was her not doing that, not following, not wanting to follow in the footsteps of the Mad King, and then becoming that because what, she didn't get love from John because he rejected her. I didn't buy it. I just did not buy that she had to go that way, the character had to go that way, that and there are a lot of things that just I didn't buy it. I mean, we have, as someone else pointed out, basically they have this war to save the whole world, and they have to basically defeat Satan, and they do that, and then we're supposed to believe the big ending, the big challenge, the big threat is now some pissy queen that just is bitter and twisted over all this crap, and politics. It's just all politics, and some people argue, well, that's what the series is about. That's Game of Thrones. I'm like, yeah, but you can't introduce a threat like the Walkers and all that, and then expect people to give a fuck about the politics. And it was, you couldn't get invested in that fight. You couldn't get invested in that, and I couldn't understand why couldn't the Queen just step down, and then when she wouldn't, but the troops. They did the right thing. They actually just saw they'd lost the battle it wasn't worth it. She wouldn't die for them, they wouldn't die for her, but yet they wouldn't accept it, and they went against it, and they killed them anyway. And it was just ugly, and nothing was achieved. Someone else was saying in a much more florid rant than this, that nothing was achieved. There were no arcs. There was no. Basically, everyone ends up back where they are, and it's basically a nihilistic, postmodern story. And I'm like, well, go do. It's like, ugh, go do your own nihilistic postmodern work. Stick it on your wall, and then you can just admire it, because no other audience member can enjoy it. And that's sort of what you end up with this. It just ends up being just a secular, pointless spending of a hell of a lot of money on special effects to make dragons. Because that's the only thing you get out of this, is you get to watch some dragons come to life for a little while, and then they just, I don't know. Ugh. Yeah, and then, but that's all our fault apparently. So it's too dark, but it's the fans' fault because we expected too much. And that's the other thing, which fortunately the creator and the actors haven't gone that way, but a lot of the critics are basically blaming the fans, saying you had too many expectations. How dare you expect something out of this thing that you have lived with and given 8 years of your life? You should just take what you're given, and when your expectations are subverted, you should just enjoy it. You should just appreciate it and say, oh, thank you for not giving me what I wanted, what I needed, what I expected, what I was sold, what I was offered, what I was... It's just such a narcissistic artist thing to be like, this is what I'm doing, you should just appreciate it. And it goes back to what I was saying before about, if you're working with a franchise, you have to do what the franchise is expected of the franchise, and they call that, oh, that's just it's fan fiction, and God, what is it when you give the fans what they want? Well, that's, damn, I've lost it. That's what they're all calling it. That you're just doing what the fans want. I'm like, well, that's kind of the freaking point. As long as the fans understand what the show is and want what the show is, you should be delivering that. If you're doing the show as it was designed, as it's meant to be, you're going to be giving them that. So, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm just glad, like I said, that I wasn't as invested and it didn't bother me as much. I was observing things and going, that doesn't seem right. I'm just looking at my notes. Like another thing that really I thought was weird was the timing. Basically, the series was rushed, and they obviously had problems resolving it, and it was rushed. And apparently, HBO was happy to do 10 episodes for the season, or both seasons probably, but they said no, we'll do it in 6, because apparently they thought they could sort it out, or they just wanted to end it, and they kind of knew where the characters were going to go, and they were just going to put them there, and they didn't really care about the build-up, the motivations, the arcs, anything. It's just like, we just want to end it. This is where this person's going to end up with this, and pretty much none of them were satisfactory. Pretty much none of them really worked, and most of it was just nihilism and putting people back where they were, and just nothing was achieved. Probably with the exception of the girl, the sister, I've forgotten her name, who ends up travelling off on the sea. Well, they'll probably do a series with her having adventures or something, so that seems to be a setup for another show. But the question now is anyone going to watch or going to be able to invest in this prequel series? Because if it's done by the same people with the same intentions, people are going to have the same feeling of wasting time to get to like, they're going to invest all this time and not get anything out of it. So I don't think people are going to make that commitment again. People are not going to, because this show had such a big following. So many people were invested in this, and now they are all, not all of them, a lot of them, because some people do, there's always going to be those people who have to have such faith in something that they will just blindly just deny any problems and just say, it's great, because it has to be great for them to be okay, because it can't be bad. I'm finding this with a few fandoms and a lot of people, and it's just a really bizarre, fanatical, borderline religious fervor sort of thing that happens to some people, where like they invest in it so much that it has to be okay for them to be okay, and they can't just honestly reflect and talk about problems with the show, because you can love a show or a piece of art or an artist and be conscious and critical of them without actually, without, you can still appreciate it, you can still enjoy it, you can still love what came before or parts of the work and have problems with other parts. But there's other people who just, and they will attack you and rip you down if you do not see it their way. And I don't know, because I'm a Star Trek fan, I'm a Madonna fan, a Twin Peaks fan, and to a lesser extent Star Wars. And a lot of these shows have gone through these big changes that have split fan bases, and you have everyone. It's just a huge mess. I need to do another video just on fandom alone, but I need to do a little bit more study, so it's not just me saying my opinion with nothing much behind it other than just my own experience, because there's a lot to document a lot of this and a lot of people with their thoughts and feelings involved. So but yes, Game of Thrones finished. I was kind of shocked with how they ended so many things. I probably should go through a lot of it in detail, but it's all been covered by other people and it's all really obvious. We didn't get to see the Queen really get taken down. She just had a bunch of bricks falling up because apparently it's meaningless and doesn't matter. And that resolution we wanted or deserved, or that the characters deserved, that doesn't matter because nothing matters. So just get over it, shut up, pay us money and go away. That's the feeling you come out of, I think, with Game of Thrones the last season, which is a pity because a lot of people invested a lot in it and it did have a lot to offer. And it's going to be, I don't know if I'm going to watch it again, and a lot of people saying I'm never going to go back and watch this again because I can't enjoy any of the old episodes because it's so undone that you can't go back and rewatch it because it's all meaningless. But okay, that's it. I'm done. If you enjoyed it, good for you. If not, feel free to tell me what you thought in the comments section. Thanks. Bye.